the special meeting of the Village Board of Trustees for Monday, October 16th, 2023. Please stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item is approve the minutes of the regular meeting of October 3, 2023. I have a motion.
Move to approve the minutes of the Village Board of Trustees meeting of October 3rd, 2023.
Second. Changes? Roll call vote?
Trustee Pashima?
Aye.
Trustee Braden?
Aye.
Trustee Stifler?
Abstain.
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Trustee Burns? Trustee Bank?
Aye. Okay, Village President's Report. Thank you for all who attend the Fire Department, Police Department Open House and Fall Festival. Despite the weather, both events were well attended, and we appreciate the effort that goes into making these special events. The free weekly fall leaf pickup will begin the week of October 30 and run through the week of September 7. Leaves must be bagged in craft paper yard waste bags and placed along the curb. For more information on the leaf pickup, visit the village website. Citizens petition. Anybody here to petition the village on anything that's not on the agenda? Okay. That takes us to first read. Matt.
Yes, item 6A, this is a first read to approve the village's 2022 annual financial report and related documents. The village is required to be audited by state law. It's also good financial practice. And Sikich performed the audit this year, same as last year. The village received a clean opinion on their financial statements, which is the highest opinion that the financial reports can receive, which is great. And in connection with the audit, the following reports were produced, which all need to be approved as part of this motion. First of all, the annual comprehensive financial report. This is the primary document that includes all funds and operations of the village, including the police and fire pension funds. The next document is a single audit report, which is required when you have federal grants of $750,000 or more in a fiscal year. The third report is a report on the allocation of IMRF pension amounts between the village and the library. IMRF doesn't do that itself, so it requires that report. The fourth report is a report on Illinois state grants and other grants. This is required by Illinois statute. And then the final document that needs to be approved is the management letter, which discloses any material weaknesses in the internal controls of the village that were identified during the audit. Sikich did not identify any material weaknesses this year, again, which is great. The village staff has submitted the annual financial report to the Government Finance Officers Association for a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. And this is something that the village has received for the last 29 years, which is great. So thanks very much to Carrie and the rest of the staff for work well done on the audit. Anything else, Carrie, that you want to add? Or?
No, nothing to add.
Okay.
We just go on the consent agenda? I assume we can, right?
Is that right?
Do we have
Sure.
does this have to have two reads or not? Okay.
No? Okay.
Consent
Consent
agenda.
agenda. All right. Next item is item 6B, also a first read. And this is to waive competitive bidding and to purchase and install playground equipment for Burns Field from Game Time for a cost not to exceed $177,050.23. Staff here is taking advantage of a joint purchasing program called Omnia Public Sector. This was competitively bid out by the city of Charlotte, North Carolina, and was also recently used by District 181 for the playground equipment at Monroe School. The list of equipment and pictures are in the materials included in the RBA. This is a turnkey operation where the old equipment would be removed, and then the new equipment, in addition to it being purchased, would also be installed. This was recommended by the Parks and Rec Commission at their May meeting, and staff wants to be able to purchase the equipment before November 1, which is before our next board meeting, and there's a couple of reasons for this. One is to avoid a scheduled price increase of 5%, which would take effect on November 1st, and then also to receive a 3% discount for paying in cash. The amount is within our budgeted amount for $180,000 for playground equipment at Burns Field. One other gating item is I understand that the village attorney has prepared a rider to go along with the contract. Mike, do you know what the status of that is?
I just contacted Game Time today. They sent it up to their administrative executives. So as soon as they get it and read it, they'll give it back to the village.
Okay. And is there any issue with getting that done by November 1st, or?
I don't foresee any issue, but I'm going to stay on them and I'll be in touch daily until we get it.
Got it.
What's the rider for?
There's a bunch of legal things that I was gonna ask that as well. Is it because they're installing the equipment, as opposed to just purchasing it?
So the riders, to be clear on the contract, to make sure that our warranty information's in there, to make sure that the village can obtain and receive any equipment that we want to keep from Burns Playground to be repurposed else around. It also identifies village insurance requirements, hold harmless, and that they will be holding the equipment for us until the spring, and that the price includes the spring set install spring price. So it's just covering our basis as a village.
I have a-
So, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Elaine.
I know that the equipment's more than 2 decades old. The village can repurpose any of the equipment, but in years past with other playgrounds, have we ever donated older equipment to various other municipalities and their parks?
So it came to my attention that Irma Butler, our top lot at Robbins Park,
Right.
we actually worked with a company that removed the equipment for us at a reduced or free cost, and that equipment may have been then repurposed elsewhere and donated to a charitable organization. But I don't have the exact facts of what that organization was.
Okay, would that be something we might be able to look into?
So with Burns Field, the project that we enlisted on for this adventure is that we as a village are going to try to keep as much of the equipment that we can and repurpose it ourselves. The equipment that we can't keep is probably not in the best of shape.
Sure, that makes sense. Okay.
So how is this competitively bid? I don't understand how.
So the city of Charlotte, North Carolina put out a bid selecting playground vendors to give competitive pricing on each piece of equipment. It's not specifically on the playground, but each item or each equipment, so like a tire swing, a rocker, they had to give their lowest price available. So for an example, if we did not hop onto this program, a swing might cost $400 versus it's costing $200 being a part of this program.
So a number of municipalities went into this together and they bid out for the equipment, so like maybe 3 swing sets, and it was a bulk order? Is that?
Correct.
Yeah.
But the city of Charlotte, North Carolina is the organization that started it and took the lead behind the bid and drafting it.
Do we pay them anything for their services?
We do not. We do not.
What do they get out of it?
They essentially get a reduced rate playground, I mean,
I see, for their
themselves too.
equipment.
Correct.
Okay.
I think it's similar to like what we do with vehicles.
What's that?
Absolutely. You can do the vehicles through this program.
Right,
So
so
when you
there's a
buy group as a,
Like we have.
suburban purchasing cooperative. is
Right, like
another-
was it just at our last meeting where there was a, yeah, that it was
They
Northwest
collectively go out.
Indiana.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
it's common that groups get together and collectively bid out items that other municipalities would want, and then get the economies of scale for the reduced cost.
Negotiate the price.
Yeah, because what always concerns me, just, you can go on our website and find out, or you can research and find out how much we budgeted for each thing. And then you just come in a little below that if we don't competitively bid. I mean, we're not very transparent about how much we're willing to spend for something. And we are very transparent about that. So, you know, I'm always concerned when I see like a budget amount of $180,000 and something comes in at $177,000, $50. It's like just short of our.
Right.
I'm just get suspicious when I see that.
So when this report came across my desk, I asked the same question. And the reason it is so close is because we budgeted the amount that was quoted to us. So
Oh,
we
okay.
knew that amount
Okay.
this time, but your
Okay.
point is well taken.
All right, I got it. Okay, understood.
And my understanding is, in essence, we kind of bought as much as we could under this cooperative purchasing
Okay.
agreement, given our budget.
All right.
Correct.
Okay.
Just the one question that I was wondering is, are we going to be using the same footprint that we currently have? Or will there be other modifications made to accommodate the new equipment?
It will be using the same footprint, but the equipment is going to be arranged differently. And part of the reason it has to be arranged differently is you have fall zones and safety zones, and each equipment's a little different of how far your fall zone has to be. So like for an example, right now the swings go this way, and this new playground, the swings are going to change a little bit to accommodate those fall zones and ensure safety.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
Consent agenda?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Luke?
Yep, which brings us to agenda item 6C, and this is a first read, and it's an ordinance authorizing an intergovernmental agreement for the village's participation in the mutual aid box alarm system. This intergovernmental agreement was originally started in 1968. It's my understanding that the village joined at some point in the 1970s. And was originally put together to formalize a mutual aid response procedure for fire departments in Northwest Cook County. The IGA was amended most recently in 2014 to account for the departments outside of Illinois and to be within the guidelines for state and federal reimbursement, and also to be in compliance with FEMA recovery policy, specifically when municipalities are seeking reimbursements under a declaration of disaster. So basically what this does is it outlines the reimbursement cost for municipalities when they aid in a situation that is outside of their jurisdiction. In October of 2022, the Mutual Aid Box Alarm Systems Executive Board cited additional guidelines for members to remain in compliance, specifically to ensure that municipalities that do contribute 8 hours or more time and resources to incidents are made whole through a certain process. So at least it was important for my discussions with the chief, is this is not looking to set up a policy for billing for small incidents. It's only when it gets above a certain time where they where a municipality incurs costs that they otherwise would not have incurred. And this will go and aid in keeping this kind of friendly neighborhood participation amongst the first responders in place. I did not read through the entire agreement, but the council for the village did read through it, and they're in agreement that this should be provided for.
Okay, this modifies an agreement we entered into in 2014, right?
The amendment in 2000, my understanding is we originally entered into it in the 70s.
Okay.
But yes, we were a signatory to the
They ne-
2014 amendment.
They seem to be unable to send us a black line, so I can't tell what changed between, does anybody know what changed?
I asked for a red line from Mavis themselves,
Yeah.
and he said he didn't have one. What I did
Yeah, I
send
heard
is a
that.
PowerPoint. They basically rewrote most of it, because in 14, they added another amendment, and then what the latest one was, is they decided to rewrite it because to make inclusive Michigan and other states that are now involved in it, so their legal counsel advised them to rewrite it,
Okay,
and I
but the
even asked.
substance of it didn't change, to your mind?
No, it was more expansive in taking, because like I said, it was originally a very old document.
Yeah,
And their legal counsel thought that we, instead of amending it again, just rewrite the whole thing. So even if I did get a red line copy, he said it'd just be mostly all red.
okay.
But yeah, there is no downside to this for the village. As trustee Stifler said, this is more for if, take Katrina or something like that, where we were dispatched there. If we went to a tornado somewhere in Indiana, Michigan, or anywhere in Illinois, what they do is they activate the MABUS system, and they may say, we need a task force of 3 engines, ambulances, chiefs, ladder trucks, and we're gonna go to this place, and then we just go off the FEMA hourly rates for engines, trucks, and firefighter medics and things like that. That's all it says. It doesn't set a price, but it recognizes the FEMA cost that we would get reimbursed for.
Yeah. So I did read it, and the only thing that really caught my eye, and I guess this is just inevitable, but if another municipality would come to our mutual aid in the village and something were to happen, whether they, ruined a piece of property or did something, we would indemnify them for their actions when they're responding to an incident here. I guess that's just the way it works, but, we are taking on, I guess, the risk that somebody who asks to assist us damages property, right?
Yeah, and it is more of, what I would see this for is a disaster. You're declaring a disaster.
Okay.
And then we would be obviously reimbursed by state, federal, however that went through, is whoever declares that disaster.
Okay.
But that's what this is mostly made for. It's not just like a fire where, you can go in and something breaks and then they leave. It's more for a long-term incident.
Okay.
Where this is where we're really in trouble. We have a train derailment and we're there for several days operational time. That's going to be extensive.
All right. Okay.
Comments? Consent agenda?
Yeah.
Okay, which moves us to agenda item 6D. And this is a first read and is to approve a variation relative to signage at Hinsdale Middle School, which is located at 100 South Garfield Street, with the applicant being Community Consolidated School District number 181. I would note here that, everyone's familiar with HMS. We went through the process a few years ago of approving the site along with a parking deck. In my opinion, the sensitivity here with the signage, not only for the community, but on the south side of the property lines, it does abut a residential neighborhood. So I just want to keep that in mind. As far as the process here, 2 meetings were held by Plan Commission on May 10th and June 14th regarding the content of the signage. PC typically has final authority over signage. That's why we typically don't see it here. Additionally, there is the variation request did go to the ZBA, but the extent of the variation exceeds their authority, so that's why it's here at this board tonight. So we're approving not only the signage, but also the variation request. The specific variation request includes an increase in the number of wall signs permitted on the building from 2 to 6. And I would note here that this, to the best of my knowledge, the middle school is probably one of the larger buildings that we have in our community. And a lot of signage is dependent upon the total square feet of the building. And for example, some of the restrictions here are based on the front yard side of the property, which limits it to 100 feet. This is obviously much bigger than 100 feet. So that the ZBA cited specifically as reasons why the variation was, what parts of the variation were granted. So I just want to make sure trustees are aware of that. The second request is to increase the maximum gross surface area from 100 square feet to 114 square feet. Increase the maximum gross surface area of the official emblem, which was the blue circle for a blue ribbon school, from 3 square feet to 18 square feet. Increase the maximum height of the wall sign from 20 feet to 39 feet. So on the east side of the property, as you're driving south on Garfield, you'll see there's a sign that says Hinsdale Middle School, which is above the 2nd story, right at the top of the 3rd story. Our code specifically states that signage can't be above the 2nd floor windows or 20 feet. They're asking for 39 feet here. And increase the size of the flags. So there's 2 flags on the property from 24 square feet to 96 square feet. And I would note here that our code is in conflict, I believe, with state law, which mandates the size that they're requesting in the variation. There's a mix-up here, but detailed information regarding meeting at the Plan Commission was not included in our packet. Rather, there were 2 findings of recommendations from the ZBA. At the second reading, that plan, those minutes, or not the minutes, but the information will be included in our second packet. I will run through the details at the Plan Commission meeting. The first one was held on May 10th, and then the second was on June 14th. Based on feedback provided by the Plan Commission at the first meeting, Hinsdale Middle School submitted a revised plan for review at the second meeting, and specifically I want to go through some of those, and I'm going to have the applicant run through some of the details so you can maybe show us each of the signs to be prepared for that. Specifically, sign number 5 was relocated. This is the one that said Hinsdale Middle School. This is the wall sign from the east elevation facing Garfield Avenue to the north elevation, which basically faces the village parking garage now. Sign number 6 was centered and lowered. This was the blue ribbon emblem that was moved from the east side to the north side of the property at the request of the Plan Commission. And also the previous sign that said just simply Hinsdale Middle School, that was lowered from approximately 43 feet down to 39 feet. Also, which I think is important here, is there is a light bar that goes underneath and illuminates that on the brick exterior. That was shortened from approximately 24 feet down to 8 feet. Also, the flagpole lighting. The original plans or the original drawings showed lighting going up from the bottom of the flagpoles all the way to the top. The way that they have it now is there's a strip of LED lights at the top, which just reflect onto the flag, which gives up a lot of the light that goes up the entire flagpole, which is a clever idea. At the first Plan Commission meeting and the second Plan Commission meeting, there was one resident located at 306 South Garfield, which I believe is right on the corner of Garfield and 3rd Street. They did raise concerns, but similar to what we had with Salt Creek, some of those concerns were with issues not pertaining to this variation request. But I think it's important to note what those matters are. And I don't know if anybody's ever been by a flagpole, but there was a concern about the noise. When you run a flag up at the top, even when you don't, a lot of times there's metal hooks up there, and in the wind, those will clank all night long. So there were concerns about the noise. The lack of a glare shield on the monument sign. The resident did cite shields that are being used by Union Church right across the street. Also, timing is as far as when the lights are turned off, and then the brightness of the interior lights of the building. While they're not exterior lights, the residents were not happy. There's one resident was not happy with how much it illuminated the outside, just because there's so much glass on the south side of the property. With those comments, and the Plan Commission did recommend unanimously approval of this, but they did cite those matters that I just spoke of as to be addressed by the applicant. So they recommended approval to us unanimously. It then moved on to the Zoning Board of Appeals. The ZBA held a public hearing on August 17th. After a very short discussion at ZBA, it determined that the standards for a variation, which are outlined in our code, had been met, with all the changes that were also recommended by the Plan Commission, which I outlined previously. There were no residents present at the ZBA meeting. And with that, that's all I have for prepared comments. Before we open it up for trustee and President Colley comments, I think if you could run through each one of the signs, I think it would help help illuminate us a bit.
My name's Kerry Leonard. I'm owner's representative for District 181. Mike Dugan, Director of Facilities from the district, is also here. So thank you for going through, make my part of the presentation easy. I thought I'd start off with just the plan view here. So on the right where you see signs 6, 7, and flag 2. So that's the blue ribbon emblem that's up high. The Hinsdale Middle School lettering is up there now, but in the Plan Commission, that's going to be being removed from there, and I'll mention where it's going to be relocated to in a minute. So just up there now is the emblem, is what will be up there. The flagpole will be put up there. This is a flagpole that was actually supposed to go on the parking deck, but structurally the parking deck could not handle it. So by locating it here, it's in the ground as opposed to on that raised deck, and it'll work with a monument sign that's not subject to any variations. The monument sign is in full compliance, but the monument sign, the flagpole, and the blue ribbon emblem work together to identify that entry to the parking deck. Coming around to the south side where it says sign 1 and flag 1 on the bottom of the drawing there, that's the bus drop-off. There's an existing flagpole there that has again, the flagpole is fully compliant, but the flag size is bigger. It has to be by state law for schools. And then there's also a sign over that doorway that says Hinsdale Middle School. If you move around to the Washington Street sign, that's sign 2, it says gymnasium. And then around to the top of the drawing, sign 5, that's the relocated Hinsdale Middle School pin lettering that's currently up high on Garfield. It's going to be relocated to that point. That'll be dropped down so that it doesn't exceed that 20-foot maximum height. And that's located so that it also identifies that second ramp up to the parking deck. So now we've identified both ramps onto the parking deck so we can get cars up onto the deck and then get people to come in the secure entry door, which is where that sign 4 is. That it says Hinsdale Middle School. Sign 3 is the gym door off of the parking deck, and again, that says gymnasium. So let me just go a couple pictures here. So here you see a rendering of the blue ribbon emblem is up there now. It's going to be dropped down. It'll still be lit, but with a smaller light bar. The new proposed monument sign and the flagpole, that's the Garfield Street entry. And you can see on the far left, on the left picture, you can just make out the Hinsdale Middle School lettering. That's on off of the Washington Street parking lot. And that's that relocated sign, the proposed relocated sign. And then just it gives you an idea of the pin lettering, the Hinsdale Middle School. This is the south entry that has the lettering it shows there, and then that gymnasium lettering. So there's 15 doors on the building, and it actually faces 3 streets. So I think even though we exceed the numbers, it's a minimal signage for something of this size. So I hope that kind of gives you a brief overview. I can answer any questions, or if there's more detail as you'd like, happy to provide that.
There was discussion as far as the noise on a flagpole. It's not
Sure.
a request, but how is the school
So
district addressing
the school,
that?
since that meeting, the school has been lowering the flag every night. When the second flagpole goes up, there's been some investigation into some sound deadening devices that can be added to it. And so that's going to be done. And if we can't, because it was really an issue at night with the clanging.
Right.
So right now, it's a temporary solution, but if the flag's lowered every night by the school district and brought inside. That'll have to be the final solution if we can't find that sound deadening with the manufacturer, but that's being investigated as part of putting up this second flagpole.
And have you guys heard anything from the resident that made those requests since then?
Yeah, and then all of the lighting is in full compliance and will be in full compliance with the ordinances and the timing of operation and all of that. So the time clocks will be installed as part of this work to relocate the signs and put in the monument sign and do all of that. So
And what is the lighting going down just to like a security level lighting, or are you turning it off?
on the signage, the lighting will be off. The lighting inside the building, Mike's been working with some vendors to try to, it's all LED lighting, it's on time clocks, it's very energy efficient, but it is, I understand it is bright,
Yeah.
you see that, so just looking at possibly changing some controls and fine tuning the controls on that, but that's work in progress.
And in our code, it details that, for outdoor lighting that is next to a residential district, that it has to be off at 10 o'clock or until you guys are done for business. So if you have things later, obviously it can
Right.
stay on.
Right. So it'll all be controlled by time clocks, so that's the case.
And then just my opinion here, I think you guys have done a nice job of like the words that say gymnasium and Hinsdale Middle School. It's very unobtrusive.
Thank you. Yeah.
Respective of the neighborhood.
Yeah, I just had one question, and it's not, I don't object to any of this, just the one thing I didn't see in any of the documentation was what was the rationale, what's wrong with the existing signage relative to where it needs replacement? I'm just curious.
The sign, most of the signage is up. The Plan Commission didn't think the Hinsdale Middle School lettering should be up that high. Just the blue ribbon emblem could be up that high. Okay. So that's why we're relocating it. And since we have that, we thought it best to relocate it to that spot by the gymnasium wall so that it marks that second entry into the parking deck.
Okay.
So that was,
Yeah, it makes sense. I just was curious.
yeah, it was really the,
What the driver was.
taking in all the comments the plan commission gave and making changes that worked for the school district, but also worked with the input we got at plan commission.
Understood.
So how many of these signs are already up and then they're being approved after the fact and maybe modified after the fact, and how many are brand new?
The only brand-new sign is the monument sign, which is not subject to variation because it's in compliance.
Okay,
The one sign that's on Garfield, one pin lettering on Garfield is being relocated. So that's up, it'll be relocated at a code compliant height.
It's next to the logo on the east side of the building.
Yeah, and that allows the logo to be dropped down a little bit more.
And in my opinion, the reason that our code has the no higher than 20 feet or below the second floor window is if you're in the downtown area or other areas, everyone's gonna try to have their sign the highest and highest.
yeah.
This is as you can see from the east elevation of this building, it's a huge brick wall that is with a 3-story building that we have here.
Yeah,
It fits it. In my opinion, it's not too obtrusive.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you talked about resident comments. Were the residents around here all given notice of this?
Yeah, so that's another, and it's detailed in the packet. All the residents within 250 feet were provided mailings. That's why I asked if the other resident had gotten back, and I can understand what they're talking about with the flagpole. I've had an incident there, so if you guys can just be very careful of that, I think it'll go a long way as far as being good
Yeah.
neighbors. If that's the biggest, issue that comes out of a big request like this,
Yep.
you're doing a good job.
Okay,
So I think you have to come back because
Yeah.
it's a zoning issue, but
Yeah, it is a
I don't
zoning
think there's
issue.
any issues.
okay,
Unless there's always a possibility a resident will come at the next meeting, but absent that, I don't think there's a problem.
all right. Very good, thank you.
Okay, that takes us to consent agenda. And, well, first of all, we got the accounts payable, right?
I have the accounts payable, and I remembered bringing the bag. Everything is in order. So I will make a motion to approve payment of the accounts payable for the period of September 28th, 2023 through October 11th, 2023 in the aggregate amount of $1,479,105.16 as set forth on the list provided by the village treasurer, of which a permanent copy is on file with the village clerk.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Trustee Pashima?
Aye.
Trustee Braden?
Aye.
Trustee Stifler?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher? Aye. Trustee Burns? Trustee Bank?
Aye.
Okay, can I have a motion with respect to consent agenda items 7B through 7E?
Motion to approve consent agendas, item B through E.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Trustee Pashima?
Aye.
Trustee Braden?
Aye.
Trustee Stifler?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher? Aye. Trustee Burns? Trustee Bank?
Okay, we have nothing for second read. Any tollway updates?
No, for those of you that travel on the pedestrian bridge, there was a bridge dedication on Saturday for Alice Gallagher. So that will be going up at some period of time on the bridge. It was a nice event.
Okay, 150th?
We are rocking and rolling. I am told donations are coming in every day. I don't know where we are at, but that's a positive sign. I wanted to say thank you for all of those folks who are donating. Keep it up. And honestly, it's amazing to see the community coming together again, just like they did when we wanted to have this building dedicated and built back in 1927.
Any other staff reports?
Just one quick thing for finance, just to reiterate, thank you, trustee Postuma, and the board. And I wanted to give credit, especially to Allison Brothen, who is our finance director, and the rest of the finance department staff, who truly did a lot of work. And the bulk of the work for the audit, I kind of just came in at the end and was in the report stage. So just say congratulations to the rest of the finance staff for their hard work.
Yep, agreed.
Thanks to all of you.
All right, any citizens petition? No citizens here. Trustee comments? No reason, any comments? No? No reason for a closed session. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Trustee Pashima?
Aye.
Trustee Braden?
Aye.
Trustee Stifler?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher? Aye. Trustee Burns? Trustee Bank?
Aye.
Yeah. All right.
long you made it for?
Short and sweet.
10 days. 10 days.
Long